in the midst of the very intense busyness of life and children and teaching yoga and doing your retreats, you've mentioned a number of times about the breath.
Yes.
What is it that helps you remember the breath during those times when there's so much noise of life? To find that, how do you find the silence inside?
Well, I'd say at this point for me it's easy, because I really know how quickly I can access something that absolutely can help at least transform me out of a difficult, if something's challenging, coming my way, somebody or something happening in there, I can just really feel my feet on the ground, find my breath. I've experienced it. So it's through experience. And then you get to a point there's kind of no turning back. You know, it's like learning to eat a really beautiful, fresh, luscious meal, to have all that. And at first, sometimes it's like your taste buds, you have to kind of grow into certain foods and things and essences. But once you get into that, it's really hard to go back or to even, I think part of the natural process is to explore those things. We sort of have to know the dark to know the light. And then you find that middle path and you bring in, and there's just more of the good stuff coming out through a moment of just simply, okay, my breath is with me. It's a little intense in traffic right now. Maybe I'll take a breath in and wow, I just feel a collective consciousness here. If something happens down there, number one, I feel more protected. I feel a little bit more within myself. I'm here. If something goes on, I'm going to be able to maneuver this car through it. At least I'll have more potential for that. I'm here. I'm present. I'm not all over the map.
Yeah.
I'm not setting myself up for injury. I'm doing my part in here, and it's a pretty powerful part in there. So I think almost things then you avoid a lot of problems in your life and a lot of the same patterns. Sometimes we have to learn again and again and again. When you really start to study sort of the process as we evolve, we come into the breath, we begin to do these practices like excess weight in the body that begins to slough away when you really come into just a good, healthy, balanced yoga practice, whatever that is for you, and we're all different in that too. Well, also then we begin to notice our thought patterns and how our thoughts are powerful. Thoughts really do show up over time. So the quality of our thinking, here if I'm always in a negative patterning and again, and I live my whole life like that, number one, it's exhausting. I'm wearing myself down. It's like going in and into that muck and mire all the time and kind of living in there versus, okay, I see that there. I can either use that for fertilizer. There's some stuff in there. There's some stuff I may need to look at. But am I going to keep my pattern of my thoughts always habitually in that direction? Am I going to keep repeating how I live my life through certain thought patterns and directing my energies into certain things that just aren't working? Or through my practice, I have a place, I find the right class for myself and the right techniques, the right postures, and we're always changing, so it's always shape-shifting, When I teach, no two classes are the same. People love that about our work together. It's always interesting. It's never boring, they tell me. It's alive, because we're in the moment. So with all of that, and then you start to come, and every time it leaves you a little bit better when you practice, then you sort of say, I thought that thought yesterday. If I think that again, I've noticed it's popping up again and again. Is it really going to take me in the right directions in my life that I want to steer my sailboat of my life towards, And I am the captain of this ship. This is my body, these are my thoughts, the way I eat, the direction I want to take my work towards. I have such potential in here. I keep cultivating, nurturing all of that, taking care, doing the right things for that inner world too, then it can show up on the outer world. And I break through maybe some of the habitual tendencies or patterns that I've fallen into. Somehow we tend to do that. But again, from my personal experience and working with so many people, I see it as a beautiful opportunity when we start to recognize all of this. as beautiful. That muck and mire, it's like the lotus growing up out of the muck and the mire, and the roots are in it. You have this beautiful stem. You're getting stronger, the power of yoga. And up is the lotus at the top with the light and the beautiful golden, perhaps realms of gold in it, constantly unfolding. Well, that becomes our life. And you're sitting not only in the driver's seat or sailing that ship or wherever, but you're in control of taking it. And when I say control, it's not like you're controlling it, but you're more empowered.
Yes.
The power of yoga.
The power of yoga.
The
Comes
power
back to the
of-
power of yoga.
Yeah, and the breath is the very basis of it. Yoga has always been a breath-based practice. It always will be. The prana, the breath itself, the initiator. My father would say the breath is the chariot that we ride to our innermost being. So if I'm in my innermost being and coming from there out into the world again and again, remembering to remember, reminding myself, bringing that out to the world again and again, but first here, it just shape shifts. And I'm more in charge of my life.